Okay, we will make a start now. It's so much easier. Yeah, I'm training to be a teacher. It's so much easier with a class of 30 kids than adults. I'm like, oh, these are big people. I'm not used to this. Put sharks on them or something, can't be comfortable. Okay, so welcome to the Maffucci and Olliers Association 2018 conference. This is our 6th year of organising and our biggest one to date, which is really quite scary. It was funny actually because Oliver, who's attending, who's our son that's attended this year, I said the first year that we've done this we had 10 people and 4 of them were us. And he's going, well, why did you do it? And I went, look, I said, look at all these people that are here now. So it has grown massively. So today, this day is about you, it is for you. I'm just a normal mum. And basically when Oliver was diagnosed, we realised that there was no information out there. We were looking for information on the internet, anything at all to help us, and we couldn't find anything. And that's how the association came together. So the day is about you. It's for you to get out of it whatever you please, whether it's meeting other people, gathering information, you gather what you need. Housekeeping rules. Basically, the toilets are just out the front there. If there is an emergency, the exits are through this door and then we go out the side. I used to be cabin crew as well. So, lights, there are no lights there. So yeah, fire exits are out here. Teas and coffees are just out on the side. And at lunchtime, we've got refreshments coming up for you. If you've got any special dietary requirements, we've got those sorted for you as well. Filming and photographs, when you signed in, you signed to say that you're happy for filming and photographs today. If you're not, please just let us know. But the filming that we do will go onto the internet so that you can look back at it. Photographs, we normally do, we've just had a big debate about this, we normally do a big group photograph, but actually we're thinking there's too many people now, so we're not quite sure how we're going to be able to do it. So what we're going to try and do is group things through the day. So if we just go, everyone together and you all go like this, we just need those photos, okay? Because I don't think we're going to get it's going to be like a school photo, isn't it? You go on the end and you don't like, it'll be too much organisation. Breaks and lunch, we have breaks throughout the day, we've got lunch provided for us. If at any point you need to leave the room, please feel free to do so. You are not restricted to your seats and you don't need to put your hand up, you can just go out and leave the room. Disclaimer, I'll put this on. Basically, as I say, I am just a normal mum. I'm no expert in these conditions. I just realised that there was a need for this. The people that are coming here to speak today, they are professionals in what they do, but I will let you know they were just as worried as me about coming up and speaking, okay? They are not experts either in these conditions. They know their thing, they know their stuff, but trying to find these actual experts that we all dream of, they're not there, but we've got people that have got the knowledge that are there to help us in some way, okay? And just empower us with the knowledge when we go to see our professionals, okay? Okay, this is where you are all from today, which I always find really quite exciting and test my geography skills. So we're from all over the UK and we've got people from all over the world in attendance. We've got people that have travelled from Australia. Where are you if you went? Hey. We've got Israel family here. We've got Belgium. Where's the Belgian family? At the back there. And then we've got the rest of the UK. I think I've covered everyone. Oh, wait a minute. Where's Nara? We've got America as well. There we go. Okay, so today it's all about sharing information and our experiences, okay? It's about learning more about the conditions. It's about bringing together people, individuals and families and those professionals all in one room together, which for many I don't think you ever really expected this to happen, which I never thought would. It's also about looking to the future, about how things can change, okay? And it's all about you, what you want to get out, as I explained at the beginning. Your agendas, they're out on your table, so have a quick look through those. I'm not going to really go through in too much detail, but special thanks to all our visiting guest speakers that have come. I love it that each year that actually I don't have to battle to get guest speakers. People are really happy to attend now. We have grown so much that people actually approach me to come present, which is fantastic. So we've got Professor Flanagan, OBE, she kept that one quiet, who has come to speak today. And we've got Mr. Ali, where is Mr. Ali's at the back there. We've got Nara, who's come over. We've got Meryl and Mary. Meryl's at the back, who's our special guest, and Mary, who is here as well. This is our association, so this is our team who are working behind the scenes. So there's myself, who set everything up, and we've got my support team, who basically put everything into practice that I say, please can you help? So they use all their skills and knowledge. And then we've got Ollie today. I had to put him on there because he'd be a bit of a load. So he's running our shop. And our medical advisory board, which we're really lucky to have now. Professor Flanagan and Rob lead that. And we've got a working party that are starting to build together with our specialists like Mary and Meryl that are here today. As you can see, there's our group photos. Grown a little bit if you look at 2013. That was a nice little occasion, and we all had to buy our own lunches that year, which in London was quite expensive. But no, it has grown massively, which is really, really good to see. To be able to do these events for the past few years, we've been fully funded by getting a grant from the Aviva Community Fund, which is where I harass everyone on Facebook to vote for us. And you put in your votes, and if you get so many votes, you get £1,000, and that goes towards our conference. So we've been really, really lucky to have that every year to be able to afford to be able to do this. In total, since 2013, we've had over 230 people attend. We've had guest speakers from all over the world. We've had people from all over the UK and all different professions and organisations. We also use the Red Robin Trust sometimes to fill our events, which is our charity, but we try not to use that too much. We want to keep that more focused on the other aspects of the condition and keep the funding and grants that we can get to secure these events. Some of our projects and activities, I won't go too much into detail in all of these. Started off as a website, so when Oliver was first diagnosed, the first thing we thought we could do was set up a website so people could find us. We then moved on, started having a conference, which has grown, and we've had that for 6 years. We now have started to do some films, which some of you have been a part of at our conferences. James Thompson, so Thompson Productions, have started to put together films that we're going to be hopefully releasing soon. And it's about, for me, when Oliver was diagnosed, it was about seeing actual real people talk about the conditions and explaining their experiences, and that's what these videos are for. So if someone's diagnosed, they can click on this video and see real people talk about them. They can't be here today, they've been at our last few conferences, but unfortunately they can't be here today. If you would like to be a part of that, all it will involve is just talking to a camera and just explaining some of your experiences, okay? And we are going to be doing that today, so if anyone would like to do it, if you can approach Paul or Matt, and they'll be able to do that for you. Okay. What else have we got? Hope campaign, that's your fingers crossed that we do for Rare Disease Day. So we have our finger crossed selfies that we do. We've got the Red Robin Trust, which again, as I explained, is the charity. I've been over to Paris to the Maffucci and Olliers Association Europe to speak with them, and they've got their conference coming up November the 17th over in Paris this year, which is their 20th anniversary. Elizabeth, who is the president of that association, can't be here today, but she does normally attend, and we support one another, which is fantastic. So if you can get over to that event, that's another good one to go to. Medical advisory board we've got, and then our working party, which I explained. And basically, just a little quote, our community is growing, and as individuals we're empowering ourselves with the knowledge to manage these conditions. Just want to say thank you for coming, because when you've just got 10 people, it's quite awkward. So thank you for coming, and we hope that you enjoy your day. Pass you over to Adrian.
Thank you very much, Charlotte. It's always a pleasure to be here. And I have spoken here before, so if you find this a bit dull because you've heard it before, I can really apologise, but hopefully there will be some new information. This is all quite relaxed, so if you want to stop and ask a question while I go along, just put your hand up and if I'll respond. And I'm going to go back a little bit and talk a little bit about very basic science, just some ideas about how this might occur and to give you some explanations about it. It's not heavy-duty science, but it might just give you some words that then you may be able to Google, or you hear them again, so next time you hear them, it'll be a bit easier to understand. Or when you're speaking to your doctor, it's not just all brand new. So, now what's happening there?
We've got some problems having it. Difficult. Yeah. It's just, I think,
Before I start doing Baby Shark.
Go on, child.
Or I read a story. Do that.
It's always very useful. Okay, so while we're talking, I've got my computer here, so maybe I'll just stop the conversation and the chat. And so Olliers disease and Maffucci's disease, it's very rare. So to put it into perspective, it's about 1 in 100,000 births, okay? Whereas the most common familial disease in this country, which is probably known as neurofibromatosis, is 1 in 10,000. So it really is extremely unlucky if you get this, right? It's extremely rare. And so just another number, if you get breast cancer, there's 55,000 new breast cancers diagnosed a year, right? So you have 1 in 100,000 births, and every year there's 55,000 new breast cancers. Just to show you how rare this disease is. Now I do a lot of things, but I don't do so much talk, but I do pictures, so it's a bit difficult to show you talk if I don't have the pictures. But this is a tumor, a disease where people get cartilaginous tumors. They can get other types of tumors, but the most common type of tumor is the cartilage tumor. Now, the cartilage that most of you will be aware of is the cartilage that covers the joints. So when people get osteoarthritis, they get bad joints, and that's the cartilage that breaks down. However, it's similar type of material, it's cartilage, but this is cartilage that is in children's bones, and it's called the growth plate. And so these cells grow, and this is how we all grow when you're born. It's this cartilage at the growth plate, and then that cartilage is very well controlled, and it turns into bone, okay? And it's so everywhere you have this growth plate, which is at the ends of the bones, where you've got cartilage, an abnormality that can occur there, which can disrupt the normal maturation of the cartilage, okay? And it's called, apart from calling it Olliers disease, it's also known as enchondromatosis or multiple enchondromas, okay? That's because a person with Olliers disease can have multiple cartilaginous tumors, right? Mm-hmm. Now the most common of this disease is Olliers disease or Maffucci disease. But there are other types of diseases where people get lots of cartilaginous tumors. And so the most common is Olliers, but you can also have they're in the bone. She doesn't like my talk. So, but you can also, there's a hereditary disease where the cartilaginous tumors are on the bone, and that's called multiple osteochondromas, okay? So doctors may get confused with these diseases in the bone and on the bone, right? But they're cartilaginous tumors. And it is important for the diagnosis to be correct, but actually they're so rare, and most doctors in their lives may never ever see a patient with Olliers disease. So we can't really blame people not to know these details, it's so rare. But what is important is that we get sent to specialist centres where people have that extra knowledge in that field, because everybody has their specialist area. Okay, can we make it a bit smaller? Oh, that's great. I'm not complaining.
Try that. See how we
The
go.
one on that side is showing.
This one's
which
okay.
All right.
doesn't
Okay, so
necessarily
I'll
help.
wander over here then. Okay, so that's just what I said there. And so, as I mentioned, this is a disease where you get multiple cartilaginous tumors, and they're denoted here by the red, and they usually occur in the hands, most commonly in the hands and in the feet, and it usually has, people talk about a ray distribution. So it may be on one arm, or one leg, or one side of the body, okay? And that's probably about how this disease is initiated. And because it's kind of patched around the body like this, you will hear people, doctors, talking about it as a mosaic disorder. There are other types of diseases which is mosaic, and it's just this pattern of multiple tumors around the body. So these are words that you might hear the doctor talking about, but also if you see your pathology report, you may see these words, and that's what it means. Okay, so what we have here is cartilage. This is what if you look down a microscope, this is cartilage, okay? And this is normal cartilage, and really this is what most of the cartilaginous tumors of Olliers tumors look like. It's really just a little bit cartilage tumors that look a bit excited, but there can be lots of them. This is just another example. Very bland tumors. This is the cartilage, and actually a lot of the tumor sometimes actually dies, but it forms nodules of bone around it, okay? And that's what the pathologists frequently will look at when they look down a microscope. So one of the things I think that's very important and what many people need to know is that this disease is not inherited, okay? The child can develop the disease very early, but if you've one child, your other child has the same risk of receiving that alteration as the rest of the population. Whereas inherited diseases, you might have a 1 in 2 or a 1 in 4 chance. But this is not an inherited disease, okay? It is just a random disease, but it occurs very early, okay? And so it's your one child, the other children should not be affected. But what happens sometimes, and that's the reason that getting the right diagnosis is very important, because most of these, when you have too many cartilaginous tumors, it will be Olliers disease. But there are much rarer forms of multiple enchondromatosis, and some of those are inherited. So that is the reason you do need the correct diagnosis, okay? And the vast majority of times, people are given the correct diagnosis, but that's the reason sometimes they biopsy it, and you need that information. Okay, so as an example, I was telling you another cartilaginous tumor. This is the knee joint up here. That's the knee joint. Doesn't work on that side. There you go. Okay, there it is. That's the knee joint up here, yeah? And this is your tibia. Down here will be your shin. And you can see all this fuzzy bit around there. That's clearly not normal. And that is another cartilaginous tumor. So this is your tibia. Down here's your shin bone, just a little bit lower. You can see this fuzzy bit here on the fibula clearly is not normal. And that is another type of cartilaginous tumor that's on the bone. And that's completely different from Olliers disease. This is what people with multiple multiple osteochondromas get. And that is an inherited disease. So it is important to get the diagnosis right. So, I can't see that properly. Okay, so this is just an example of another osteochondroma. But the cartilage essentially will look the same. So, why should somebody get multiple tumours? And in different parts of the body, and also if you've Maffucci syndrome, you'll get cartilage syndrome, but you'll also get some vascular tumours, which can be around the body. So just let's go back here. I'm afraid I can't do both. So we start off with one cell. The egg and the sperm come together, and we have one cell. And that cell doubles, and those cells double, and those cells double. And 40 weeks later, you have a baby. So it is absolutely astounding. You start from one cell, and you end up with your 40-week-old baby. Astounding, right? And this, every time a cell duplicates, of course, there are 22,000 genes in every cell, right? So you can completely understand that there are lots of mistakes, right, being written, right? The DNA, which controls the genes, which the genes are made up of DNA, as they're copied, there may be mistakes. Now, the vast majority of cases, these mistakes, the cell dies because they don't like the mistake, or they're corrected. But the vast majority of people arrive and we don't have many problems. And this is just in fetal growth, up to about 8 weeks, you call it a fetus, an embryo, thereafter it's a fetus, and this is, again, the multiplication. But actually, there's also the cells from day one. Some then will proliferate, yeah, and some will be told, well, you'll become the right arm, and you'll become the left arm, and you'll become the fingertips, okay? So the cells are all given strict instructions as to where they're going to go in the body. And this is DNA. And the DNA is made up of just a string of DNA, and